Welcome to Northwest Arkansas Investing Podcast, your go-to source for real estate investing in Northwest Arkansas.
Whether you're a seasoned investor just starting out, we bring you expert insights, market trends, and practical strategies to help you build wealth through real estate.
From buying and selling to property management and long-term investment planning, we cover it all so you can make smart, informed decisions in this fast-growing market. Let's dive in. All right, welcome back to Northwest Arkansas Investing Podcast. I'm Brandon Still. I'm here with Mr. Brian Wagers.
What's up?
And we're going to talk a little bit about a deal deep dive here, and we're going to let Brian kind of get into a few deals that he's done over his time, and he's done a lot of deals, partner in 6,000 units or more.
Yeah,
a little background on you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, been a partner on over 5,000 units GP. I've invested as a limited partner in about 2,000 deals. Have been the only partner on about 650 doors in Northwest Arkansas and around the area. Mostly small to medium-sized multifamily. More recently, some development deals. Have looked at partnering with developers. Have bought from developers on the at the previous firm as a general partner.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I love it.
Multifamily. I did all multifamily. I have a 380 unit storage unit in Oklahoma, and I have a commercial strip, kind of a commercial strip mall, not strip mall, but strip center,
Mm-hmm.
Just south of Fort Smith. But other than that, first ever deal was just a single family, and then from there it was done with single family. That next deal was a 12 unit, and then. Most recent deals, 154 unit. That was a general partner on putting together a 200 unit townhome or 200 unit in Springdale, and looking at another 200 unit plus in Fayetteville.
Love it.
So
Brian obviously brings a wealth of knowledge, and again started out with single family, which is awesome, and I think quickly realized that can't really scale and build the kind of the life and career that he wants with just that. And so, Brian, go ahead and get us into that first deal that you want to talk about.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear kind of how it came about, how you financed it, what it looked like kind of throughout the process, and if it's one that you exited, what that actually looked like.
Yeah, I'll go through an exit real fast first. So this would be my third deal.
So you went single family, 12 unit, and then this is your third deal.
Yeah, single family, 12 unit. No, I'm sorry. This is my fifth deal. So single family, 12 unit. My deal after that 12 unit was a 20 unit seller finance deal that I broke even on. That was that's not one we're going to talk about.
I love it.
And the next deal that was a 12 unit. And these deals, I'm the owner operator. I'm finding the deal. I'm putting together insurance, managing the property management, managing the construct. These were this when I first got started, 2017. These were deep value. I started now I'm doing development. I buy an A class, but in the beginning it was
this C class?
C class, workforce housing. I'm buying from mom and pop guys that have, they let the property falling apart both physically and operationally. So that's how I got my teeth dirty.
So tell us kind of how you found the deal in the first place.
Yeah, so this was this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th deal, and this was a 22 unit in Springdale, Arkansas. I did a lot of deals in Springdale. Actually, up to that point, this would make my portfolio about 100 units, and they were all in Springdale on deal number 6.
Love it.
Including that single family. My first residence was Cave Springs. So this was 22 units. A broker sent it to me. So I had built up a relationship. We had done a deal before this, 52 units, and we partnered on it, and it went really well. They actually ended up partnering with me on it. So they were representing the seller, and knew I could, close. Sent it to me as a quote unquote pocket listing. Yeah. So they knew all I was focused on was multifamily. They knew I had done some other in Springdale. Seller may or may not wanted it listed, wanted to see what this price was. So this was 22 units, 2 buildings, or 3 buildings in Springdale, not too far from Emma. A lot of deferred maintenance, like the wall, like the siding was falling off. The driveway was gravel with like kind of holes in it.
Would you argue that it was maybe even D-class? Or?
I would say this one, there's been worse that I've had from this. Exterior was just rough. Like they didn't put anything into the exterior. Like tenants weren't too bad. That third deal, that 20, that was probably D-class. This was probably C-, D+ maybe. So they sent it to me. It was around what was it? $750,000. Yeah.
Okay.
Was the purchase price on this one.
Okay.
And at the time, I just had like 2 investors. Okay. And one investor was like, "I'm not touching that with a 100-foot pole."
Yeah.
He saw it and he was like, "Nah."
Was this a friend or was
this was my father-in-law.
Okay.
Actually, this was my girlfriend's dad at the time. This was Jen's dad. And one of my first deals, we did like a promissory note where I just agreed to pay him back like 10%, his note back plus 10%. And then after that, I did a couple of seller finance deals, and he saw what I was doing on the seller finance deals. And I was kind of sending him these deals like these other deals. Mm-hmm. Didn't do any, and again here, he said no. And so I knew I had to go seller finance. So I asked if they would be willing to keep a portion of the note in the deal, and I would get some financing for the construction and the other portion, and I would pay him back. I agreed to do like a 3-year note, it was a 3 or 5 year note. I'd pay him back $500 a month, and I would give him 5% interest on his note. So
this is your father-in-law?
No, this is the seller. Father-in-law said, "Hey, I'm not touching that with a 100-foot pole. That does not look good." It's like pull it up for the. That's something we need to do for the Spotify. It's like be able to pull up pictures of it. But yeah, he was like, "I don't want any part of it. It needs like just as much in CapEx." I think we put. I put like over 500,000 in CapEx.
Oh wow!
New roofs, new windows, new parking lot, new deck. Tore out the old deck, like the deck, like stairway to the second floor was falling apart. Mm-hmm. Like fully renovated some interior units.
And so that CapEx was that bank financed or was that?
Yeah, bank financed it.
Bank financed it.
I put up a little bit of my own. I put up some of my own capital. I put like 25. It was very minimal to complete out the CapEx, but they were lending at the CapEx, and the seller kept the down payment in the deal. Okay,
so he financed the down payment for you. Yeah. You financed the CapEx through a local bank.
Yeah,
right.
So I was in this 100%. I've talked about it before. Like I'm like 100% leverage.
And then maybe there was a little bit of an extra gap of CapEx that you came out of pocket.
Oh, I was coming out like Jen's like, I thought we were buying cash flowing assets, and I'm putting like $10,000 like $10,000 here, $5,000 a year, because I had no reserves or anything for like budget, because it was all like I used all of it for like help with the down payment. But I knew it was a great deal, like the potential.
And did you really? I mean, the play had to have been okay. Get this renovated, get the CapEx into it, and then maybe stabilize it and then sell it. Right? Was it ever to keep long term?
No, I needed to start snowballing that equity. I can't, if I wanted to do that, I probably would have stayed in single family and bought one house a year and had 10 houses at 10 years.
Right.
That would have been the route to go.
Yeah.
But I knew I had to like get in and out and grow it and put it into the next deal. So
that's good.
I was cash in. It turned out really nice. Did really well. Like that was I self GC'd this. I got the roofer, I got the window guy, I got the parking lot guy, I got the interior guy. So it was really good experience doing that too. It was a little like, scary. Or I wasn't never scared. My fiance, I don't know, she was not my fiance at the time, but this became part of a larger portfolio of seller finance deal that I ended up piecing off. I put together about 100. So I ended up buying another 8 unit, another 20 unit or so. And I pieced them together and I sold them as a portfolio for like a larger buyer.
Yeah.
That was close.
That's awesome. So so tell me from getting the deal from the broker, how long did it take you to close? And then from there, how long did it take you to get CapEx, get everything done, and then maybe even stabilize from there?
I moved fast, man. I knew like speed was going to be my advantage in the market. Like speed and like execution was like what I was going to be known for and what I could like bring to the table. So we got to close fast. Like we negotiated very quickly. I didn't take long to put together the offer. You know, I think I closed in less than 60 days or so, you know. Maybe not. Maybe it was around 60, less than 60. I think 60 days was like closings are longer and longer right now. So, but I think 60 days was more the standard. That's a whole nother conversation. Like closings take longer, a lot more work, but it was around 60 days. CapEx was starting to meet, like I was getting quote because, you know, as I was negotiating, I was getting quotes from these different, specialty guys, paint, you know, my father-in-law, I let him paint, you know, he has a painting company. So I let him paint, you know, I say I let him because he didn't invest with me, but he like, I'm getting bids as I'm doing this negotiation. So I was able to start like the roofers were like the day we closed, they were on site on the property.
Yeah.
So we had that all lined up right away. And that was,
a full CapEx period was what, a month or 2 months?
Yeah, it was very, 3 months on the exterior or less. Yeah. Because we did the roofs, then we did the windows, then we did the decking, that we did the parking lot around the same time too. And then interior units were being turned during this time. And then some of the interior units kind of staggered up, like people were still living in them and paying in them. So we're not going to renovate it until they move out.
Man, that's an interesting point though. Just going back to what you said on kind of snowballing that equity. I think a lot of times, at least smaller investors are only thinking about cash flow and how I can build the 10K a month, 20K a month, the cash flow or more or whatever. But for you, I mean, I think there are, or anybody out there, I think there are deals out there where maybe that makes sense, but a lot of deals out there, especially in Northwest Arkansas, there's a lot of meat on the bone to be able to, especially if you're experienced, to be able to add value and get a return off of that sale, and then maybe, you know, go press for a cash flow deal. Is that kind of the way that you see it?
Yeah, it's funny because I think one of our later episodes, we're going to be doing a deep dive on cash flow and appreciation, but where the investing part, you can't not talk about that like a little bit in every podcast. But that was all appreciation. That was not cash flowing at all. No. And that was like, you know, but I believe I never wavered, you know, I had some people around me like kind of like question what I was doing, but I was like, you know, funneling my income and I was growing it at the same time with these other seller finance deals, you know. I did that 22 unit was the first one, but then it was, then I got it up to about 100 units I had with no investors or partners.
That's awesome.
Before selling it off.
So
in a couple years, and I was doing deals in between. Like after that, I was doing deals, you know, where I had partners, where I was bringing on investors, my father, all my neighbors, my friends and friends of friends. Now my neighbors' friends and my father-in-law's friends. That was going on as I was building this portfolio of someone. Wouldn't do a seller financing deal that, you know, at the time it was kind of out of necessity. Like I needed them to do a seller finance deal because I didn't really know where my equity was coming from. But at first time, like I was doing these seller financing deals and I was putting them in front of my girlfriend's dad and then started talking to other people. But he was telling me no. But at the same time, I was still talking to other people and building it up, you know. So I then started to do where I was the operator and they were the investor, you know. So bought some medium size multifamily that way, you know, 82 unit, couple hundred units of that kind of size. And then pieced together that just under 100 unit portfolio of mine. And then so I sold that in 2022 or so. Most of that, that my portfolio of 100% owned, was around that 22 and had a big, nice. Yeah, it was that was my first 7-figure check. It was pretty sweet.
Amazing.
I kept it, and I had no investors and no partners. And like I called the bank that financed that, hell out of that, that first deal the seller was like 20%, and the seller actually was really nice to me this whole time. They're like, man, I hear what you're doing at that, because they were like, the broker trusts me a lot. He copied me in with the seller, and we were talking too.
That's awesome.
But called and thanked the bank for like trusting me to do that first deal, or not first deal, but that leverage deal.
Yeah, that's life changing, man. And I think the important thing that you mentioned there is that you obviously the relationship, but you have the track record of brokers trust you, and they're willing to bring you in on communications with clients, which doesn't really happen because a lot of people will go behind their back and then again, just going back to the track record that you started to build, that kind of led you past this into where you had, neighbors and father-in-law and other people wanting to join in on your deals. You got to build that momentum. I think it's super important, especially if you want to scale. And then the last one too that I thought was pretty interesting that you mentioned. I think this is very important. Your job was probably a huge factor in being able to help you carry this into you could cash out.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, commission-based sale. Like, at the time was, I was able to show really good income and a steady stream of income. A lot of commission. So that helps the bank get comfortable too. And I had income to put back into the projects too.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Give me one more. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes if you want.
Yeah. So I mean, I can. So pivoting more past, so after those, I, as some of you guys know, I was a general partner on a lot of syndicated deals where we're buying 100 units to 300 units, all Texas, Oklahoma, where we would pool investors' capital. These are much smaller check writers, $50,000 to $100,000 check writers, pull them together and buy larger apartments, and then we'd buy from developers as well, and even some developers needed help capitalizing deals. So went through the process of a lot of that. And in that time, I'd done a bunch of deals in Fort Smith outside of this partnership. When I started running out of doors in Springdale, went down to Fort Smith, bought a couple hundred units down there, and established good relationships with brokers down there. Did the same thing here, as had a good track record. Reputation was everything to me, and brokers appreciate that. Then so did other people in the real estate sphere. But a broker had a piece of land that had previously had 145 units on it. Yeah. It was I negotiated with. He was kind of representing the owner. We were negotiating. They wanted like 1.2. We were like, they wanted like 1.5 at first, and then got them almost down to like 1 million, but we just weren't comfortable. Like, we did a lot of due diligence, walked it, got bids like from GCs on. This is a property that had been vacant for 10 years. One of the buildings had to be demoed. There was fires. And it was just, an opportunity to pretty much develop or redevelop where these 145 units were. Still had a lot of stuff with the city, but we couldn't come to terms. And, probably like maybe 6 months later, we get a call from the broker, and the deal was actually to the now that deal was in the lender's hands, because the guy was just too greedy, wouldn't take what we would do it, and no one else would. And we were the first call, and we struck a deal. I think we bought the land and everything for around $900,000. I think we were all in around $1 million, a little less than $1 million, but it was around $900,000 for the land purchase. Could tell you crazy sellers about this story. The seller had a warrant out for his arrest. One of the partners was in a different country. Yeah. Crazy. So, good story, good selling stories make for good deals too. But I had a little experience on the GC side, and obviously my father-in-law does too, with the painting company. And we had these bids, we had talked to some GCs, we had talked to the city, and we acted fast on it. And now we kind of co-developed it with another GC that's pretty good, but down in Fort Smith, they were kind of, it was slow. They were kind of getting the same subs that we would have got in Fort Smith, talking to, my partner was very hands-on too. He was on the site, quite a bit. He has $4 million in the deal. So the capital stack, it's about, we'll have a $6.4 million construction loan and about $4 million of cash into the deal. And a lot of that cash we're spending up front too, like before the lender will loan on it. But that's digging out the plumb, like we're going like 20 feet into the ground, taking out old plumbing, like taking some of these buildings down to the studs, right. Some serious GC. So I ended up kicking him off the site, or it was a mutual. He wasn't very effective in Fort Smith. Great reputation in Northwest Arkansas. We're just we got the contacts, we can self GC it. So we started doing that. Some city delays. They had delays getting water out to the property. But in the beginning, the city was like, let us know what we can do for you, man. This property is like right by the University of Arkansas, Fort Smith, right by Tillis Park. Like, we'd love to collaborate and thank you so much. And we even had like a little press conference out there. But some delays with some of the things, it's beyond the city's control. It's a government facility. Sure. They have red tape. They have department, a lot of departments. So, some delays in there, but we have 20 units pre-leased.
That's awesome.
Leasing office is done. First phase, all the units are ready, just need to get water out there. So, we had people are like on wait list that want like this property. So we had to return some deposits just because the city couldn't get water out there. So
that's great.
It's pre-leased now. We'll probably hold on to it, I would say, for a couple of years. We need to get it stabilized, maybe 12 months, get that thing leased up. And then I would like to have another 12 months of showing, burning off those concessions that we offered, and maybe some rent increases. I think would be a good time.
So. I love it, man. Such a wealth of knowledge on starting with the smaller deal, D+, C- type property, and value adding, leveraging to your needs, all the way to now kind of getting this Fort Smith development deal done. It's cool to see what you've done, and I know we'll have more episodes where we'll get to talk through more of your deals and kind of what that looks like. But if you have any questions for Brian too on any of his deals, kind of want to dig more into what that looks like, definitely reach out, and I know he'd be willing to chat on that. So
yeah, shoot me an email, brian@wagerscapital.com. It's the best way to get a hold of me.
Awesome.
So
love it. We appreciate y'all listening, and on the next episode, we're going to dive a little bit more into another deal on my end, and completely different type of portfolio. So looking forward to that, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and list some sponsors off here. We're going to start with Flat Branch Mortgage, specifically Colton Kennedy. Colton and I personally do business together, and he's a wonderful lender here in the Northwest Arkansas corridor. Want to invest in real estate or purchase a home, but feel like you need a secret decoder ring to understand the process? You're not alone. First-time investors, house hackers, and future homeowners, Colton Kennedy has you covered. Colton Kennedy with Flat Branch Home Loans helps people like you break into the real estate market without the guesswork. Think of him as your mortgage strategist, helping you turn "I wish I could" into "I just did." You bring the vision, he'll bring the lending game plan. Let's make your first investment a smart one. Colton Kennedy with Flat Branch Home Loans. Contact him today by calling 417-437-0086 or emailing C as in cat, K as in Kimberly, ENNEDY at Flat Branch Home Loans. That's FBHL.com. That's 417-437-0086 or emailing CKENNEDY at FBHL.com. Thank you so much, Colton. So our next sponsorship is 1440 Photography. 1440 Photography is a local company here. I love getting local companies to sponsor this podcast. They're local. They do great service, and personally, I can speak that they do a great job on mine and my clients' stuff. If you're an investor or agent in Northwest Arkansas, you need 1440 Real Estate Media in your corner. They're not just photographers. They're real estate market experts, and it's the only thing they do. MLS photos, drone, video, Matterport, whatever your listing needs, they've got it. Everything is a la carte, and it's totally customizable. And here's the best part. Just book online whenever works for you. They confirm and show up ready to go. Fast, easy, done. Where quality meets speed, book now at 1440photography.com. Our next sponsor is Advantage Title and Escrow. They're a local company. They do great work. Specifically, Kayla Phillips. I can speak personally on this sponsor because I use Kayla for all of my transactions. It's been 2, 3, 4 years now, and Kayla and I have done a ton of deals. We probably do between 65 to 80 deals a year together, and they do a great job. The SOPs, so systems and processing that they have over Advantage Title, is just incredible. Clients love it. They do a great job from start to end communicating. When I give a deal to Advantage Title and Escrow, I know that it's going to be taken care of. There's no second guessing. I almost am able to treat them like a second transaction coordinator to my transaction coordinator that I already have. I know that they're going to handle the systems and processes correctly. As an agent, as a homeowner, as a buyer or seller, they do an incredible job of handling a transaction and communicating throughout the process. They do a great job with communication, especially Kayla Phillips over there. I would highly encourage you, if you're looking to close on a home, buy a home, if you're an agent listening, to use Advantage Title and Escrow, specifically Kayla Phillips. So you're going to reach Kayla best at 501-358-1601, or you can email her, Kayla, Cayla, at goadvantagetitle.com. Advantage is ADVANTAGE title.com. Our next sponsor is TDS IT. That's T as in Tim, D as in document, S as in solution, I as in information, T as in technology. This one hits personal. It's close to home. My dad, Tim Stanley, runs TDS IT, and he decided to sponsor our podcast. So I can speak from personal experience. I've been able to work for my dad in the past as well. And they're a great solution for business technology. If you're a local business owner or even out of state, if you're running a business, need printers, need information IT services, if you need phones, scanners, printers, all the way up to, you're printing books to, hey, we just need something in the office. TDS IT is that spot. They provide the best in-brand business technology with proven, best in local service, and they can prove it. Our next sponsor is from Whinstone Private Lending. This episode is brought to you by Whinstone Private Lending, one of the top private and hard money lenders now serving Northwest Arkansas. Whether you need short-term capital for a flip, a bridge loan, or creative financing, they've got you covered with very flexible products to fit nearly any deal, including 100% financing. What sets them apart is their deep expertise, fast response times, and ability to think outside of the box to help investors like us close quickly and efficiently. If you're looking for a real lending partner, check out Whinstone Private Lending. Link is in the show notes.
Special thanks to one of our sponsors who I've worked with personally on multifamily commercial loans as well as business acquisitions. People's Bank works with entrepreneurs, investors, deal makers, and risk takers. They're the ones who see opportunities where others see obstacles. Whether it's a vacant lot with a plan for a thriving business or making an old space new, they work with creators who think big and are not satisfied with the status quo. People's Bank helps you build Arkansas deal by deal and brick by brick. They don't just see numbers on a spreadsheet. They see your passion and vision. People's Bank. It's where people come first. Member FDIC. If you're needing loan assistance, reach out to Dakota at 870-883-1706 or DHEDDEN at peoplesbankar.com.
If you enjoyed the show, make sure to give us a follow on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an update.
Don't forget to connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for more real estate insights and behind-the-scenes content.
Have a question you want us to cover? Send it our way. And if you're interested in sponsoring the show, visit nwainvesting.com to get in touch. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.